Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Vandy. So back at another Cardfight Vanguard deck profiles. If you guys enjoyed, don't like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. Let's go start, shall we? Today we have Stoicheia, Rorowa for set 5, Glitter, the first Glitter ride line. And to be frank with you, I think it's honestly my favorite. Like, it's the most simplistic. It's the only one that actually doesn't require the Glitter card to be good. It just can be good on its own. We'll debate about that statement later, but like, it's a fun deck, and I have really fond memories of it because I almost got smashed in the face by Greedon with it, and then I anime top deck my way to victory. So let's go ahead and talk about this deck, shall we? First up today, our starter will be Bioroid Youth Rorowa, grade 0 boost 5k shield, 6k base, option short 20 for 1 second, draw a card. Here's my thing. I did not care for Craycross Epic. The only thing that ever interested me in Craycross Epic before the cards came out was when I saw this boy. Because if you don't know, I'm a huge fan of swords, and I wanted Neonectar to get a ride line in D-Series. I didn't care what it was, but obviously if you know me, it would probably most likely be preferred Musketeers. While they are not Musketeers in name, we can look at all the Rorowas, and I'm pretty sure we can all figure out that these are Musketeers. So I'm so happy that Rorowa's a Musketeer, like, Musketeer-ish ride lines. You know, I like the starter. I like Rorowa a lot already, and yeah, this is our starter. You don't have to run this as your... Actually, no, you do have to run this as your starter if you want to get the ride line abilities off, so yeah, Rorowa. Now, before we get on to the main deck outside of the starter, we are going to go over our main tokens for today. So first up, we have our plant token here. We run 5 copies of it because you don't need a 6th one because you don't have a 6th circle and you kill most of your rear guards anyways, so you won't need to call over. So grade 0, boost 5k power. It represents a plant token, cannot be put in the main deck. You spam these out Alana Rorowa. Literally, the main Vanguard can net you 3 plant tokens just by soul blasting 1, so not that hard. So you never be sure to supply plant tokens, and they're really important. Even though they only have 5k power and not as strong as the Shadow Army tokens from Orphist, they can definitely still hit pretty decent numbers as Orphist, and they're a lot easier to bring out than the Shadow Army tokens, at least in my opinion in terms of cost. So we got 5 plant tokens, and then we have 1 Momokke Token, because you only need 1 because you can only get 1 on the board at the same time. Anyways, grade 0 boost 5k power. Our first card in this deck that is a dual nation of Dragon Empire and Stoicheia represents a Momokke Token and cannot be put in the main deck. Act a rear guard once per turn, retire 1 or more other rear guards, and this unit gets plus 5k until end of turn for each of the unit retired by this cost. So if you nuke 4 rear guards, if you nuke all your other rear guards, assuming that you have 4, this thing's a 25k swing. Put a Persona Ride on it, 35. That's a very good number, coming from just to grade 0. And if you play it right, you can still get those 4 rear guards back and then beat the crap out of your opponent with it. Momokke Token is amazing, and I like it, but that's not its only fed. We have Glitter, Rorowa. Active if your Vanguard is a Glitter with Rorowa in its card name. It doesn't have to be in Glitter, it just has to have Glitter for that to go off. So continuous rear guard, if you have a unit with Radylina in its card name in the same column as the unit, and this unit is in Glitter with Rorowa Vanguard, this unit can attack from the back row. So we have a 25k, well technically because you would have to have Lena, you would have a 20k swinger in back row, and because how Radylina works, it will gain power from this unit, meaning you got like 4 attacks in total, and 2 of them are hitting for the 20/30s. All around, Momokke Token is really good. It's very powerful. It's a cute little card, and I like it so much. I love it. I think it kind of looks like an order, so 1 of copy, because you only need 1 of, but it's amazing. It can get numbers, and it can do all these things. And then we have our main deck. So we have our Overtrigger, Source Dragon Deity of Blessings, Blessfavor. Grade 0 boost, 50k shield, 5k power, Overtrigger. You may have 1 Overtrigger in your deck. Reveals a trigger, move that card, draw a card, choose one of your units, gets plus 1 mana for the turn. And if you revealed it during your draft check, activates your additional effect, which is draw a card, choose one of your units, gets plus 1 crit for the turn. All your farmer gets plus 10. And if your damage zone has the same number of cards as your opponent or more, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. So, as I've been saying this entire time that I've ever done a Stoicheia deck profile, it is an everything bagel. You get a draw, but if you draft check this, you get 2 draws. Someone's getting a crit, probably the Vanguard, unless they PG'd it. Your entire front row gets plus 10, so a front trigger, and then you just get to heal. The only thing that could have made this better is if they made it part stand trigger, and then you just give the million to the unit that stood. But then that would just be cheating. So Blessfavor all around is an amazing overtrigger. It is definitely one of my favorites just in terms of effects. Like, it does so much. But at the same time, that is like the most dangerous effect out there because the turn it activates, your opponent's going to struggle to survive. Afterwards, depending on what happened from the other drive check, you might win or you might lose because of it. But Blessfavor, numbers, except the thing is, this thing like hates me in Rorowa. I don't know why. At least in my other Stoicheia decks, it appears kind of ish in my hand. Blessfavor here, well, Blessfavor shows up at the least opportune times for me whenever I play Rorowa. If I damage check, it's going to be in the early game where they at the last attack of the turn. It's never going to be when I need it. It's always going to be at the least convenient point. But you know what, Blessfavor, I still like it because it does help. And in the situation where when I drive check it, eventually I will win because of it. So one of Blessfavor, because I remember the one time I did drive check it, I literally won on the same turn. So cool. Then we have 3 fronts in Frenzied Heiress, grade 0, boost 15k shield, 4k base. Continues guard circle. If your opponent's Vanguard grade 3 gets plus 5k shield, so 20k shield. We have 4 draw triggers in Serene, Maiden, Lena, grade 0, boost 5k shield, 4k base. Continues guard circle. If your opponent's Vanguard grade 3 gets plus 5k shield, so 10k shield draw trigger. And 4 critical triggers in Aspiring Maiden, Alana, grade 0, boost 15k shield, 4k base. Auto rear at the end of the battle that boosted. Shove it to soul, choose remake plus 2 for the turn. And then we have 4 regular heals in Elegy Pixy. Now, time for me to go through all the reasons why I run these. First up, 3 fronts. Plant tokens are only 5k. Most of the time, if you play this deck like I do, you will only have one of your columns will most likely be a plant token at all times. You want to add that power to them, but at the same time, in the case where they're not, you don't want to just keep spamming fronts, especially because your opponent, if they're smart, they'll just keep killing Radylina. So you need ways to get it back, and there are ways to get it back in this deck, but you need to draw them first. So, you know, draw triggers to 1, draw more Radylinas, and 2, to get the cards that can get Radylina back. So, you know, Lena is here at 4 for that. Critical triggers, well, you shove crits on Radylina, who's the biggest number you've got on board with a Persona Ride and all your other trigger effects, and then you just swing for game with Radylina. And then Elegy Pixy. I did explain this in a deck profile that I recorded before this, but this deck profile is going up first. So basically what I don't like about what I don't like about the counter heals, well, first off, I don't like counter heals, and that's why I'm not running them. But the reason why I don't like them is because, like, they're very situational. Granted, there are a decent amount of decks in D that would make them go off, but I don't just like using them for that, because, to be fair, one of them only activates if a unit attacks twice. And if it doesn't attack twice, then you only have a 10k shield, which is a waste. And then there's the other one that like activates if they have an extra crit on it that wasn't from a critical trigger, I want to say, or even if it was from a critical trigger, it's like, you know, it's so situational that you are losing out on a 5k shield if it doesn't go off. And I cannot tell you how many times I would lose games if I didn't have those 5k shield. Like, so many games I would have lost because of that. So I'm not going to take my chances. I know how I play. I know how those would greatly affect me in such a negative way. Like, if it doesn't affect you at all, or like it benefits you, run them, because I know everyone's different. But for me personally, like, those things hurt a lot more than help, and I'm not going to run a card in my deck that hurts me more than helps me. And now on to our normal units. 4 copies of our PG Planar Prevent Dragon, grade 1, boost 0 shield, 6k base, continuous sound, 4 sounds in your deck, and auto is put on guard circle, choose one of these, it cannot be entered the battle, and if your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from your hand, discard it. So if you don't know what that means, it is when this and only one other card is in your hand, when you put this on guard circle, you do not have to discard, which is really nice, because that means you can be as aggressive as you want, and still be defensive as you want. This is the deck where I constantly draw 4 PGs every game, and I don't know how, and I don't know why. It just happens, which is good in its own right. Sometimes it gets me killed, sometimes it saves me. But the fact that the PG is helpful is amazing. Like, you know, you can still be aggressive, and in some cases I need to be very aggressive, even though most of my rear guards don't get called from hand. I still need to be very aggressive on occasion, so Planar Prevent really helps with that. And it's just really easy to get in this deck, so 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of Nostalgia Knight Marco. He definitely brings the nostalgia, because if you don't remember, I told you earlier I liked Musketeers because of aesthetics. Or if I didn't say that, I liked Musketeers because of aesthetics. And this boy, just like Rorowa, seems to look like a Musketeer. So grade 1, boost 5k shield, 8k base, auto placed on rearguard circle, choose one of your grade 1 or less units, it gets plus 5 for the turn. I know what you're all thinking. I should be running Mantis, because Mantis does the exact same thing, except it gives it to any unit of any grade. Well, my exact reason for not running Mantis is the following. And are you ready for this? It's a really important reason. It's because Mantis does not resemble a Musketeer. I'm not even joking with you. That is the reason why it's not here. That, and I hate Mantis. I don't know why. I just never liked Mantis. I like Marco more. And that's like genuinely proof of like aesthetic, because I never liked how Mantis looked. I like how Marco looks. It is genuinely just aesthetic that is keeping me from using Mantis. I don't care. It still works, because I would never give it to the Vanguard anyways, and even if I did, like I said, most of the time the board is just made of tokens, so I would probably just give it to the unit right behind the Vanguard, and it will just get the 5k. Or you can just give it to Marco, who's a 13k swinger now. So, you know, all around, Marco's pretty good. Get you 5k just by being placed and for free. And there was a way to bounce in this deck, so 4 of. Amazing card. Then we have 4 of Stepping Kelix Salvia. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Auto when it's placed on rearguard circle. If your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, may call a plant token to rear. Plant tokens are grade 0, power 5k, 1 critical, and have boost. So really nice, just a free plant token if you're a grade 3 or greater. Here's the funny thing about this deck that you're not going to believe. Outside of Radylina and one other card, you have no cards in this deck that cost Counterblast. And outside of Radylina and Rorowa, you have no cards in this deck that cost Soul Blast. If you build it the way I did. Which means you can tech in whatever the frick you want, because you have access to so much resources. Like, I'm not even joking with you. I have access to so much resources in some games, and in some games I don't, which is why I don't change it, because I just like having this nice balance. But, if you wanted to, you could tech in one, and yeah, your game might go a little bit differently because of the resources you're spending, but it would stay consistent. So, 4 of Salvia, because she's free, gets you a plant token, is all around amazing. So 4 of. And then our last grade 1 is Awakening from Slumber Rorowa. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Auto 1 is placed on riding from Bioroid Youth Rorowa, the reason why you must run the starter. Call up to 1 plant token to your back row, center, rear guard. Plant tokens are grade 0s, boost, 5k shield, 1 critical, and have boost. I'm not going to bother saying that again because all of them do that. So anyways, and then it has Glitter, which seeks the fire regalias. We do not have that yet, and I have a theory of why. I'm not going to share it now because I might just be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure I know why. So we're just going to leave that off to the side for now. But to unpack that, you just get a call of a plant token to back row center. I don't understand why specifically back row center. I guess Bushy's like future proof in this in case like Rorowa gets extremely broken in the next set that they do this and they get hyperly over aggressive. So let's just make it so they're restricted to calling it to back center instead of calling it to front. Because I know if I know Bushy right, I could see a reason for them to future proof this just in case something goes horribly wrong in the future and Rorowa becomes like top tier broken. Because in my opinion, it's the most underwhelming of the decks, despite the fact it is my favorite outside of Chaos. But it's definitely one of the more powerful ones, or has the potential, because it's Stoicheia we're talking about. So, Awakening from Slumber is really good. Get you a plant token call, and does it for free, all from riding one specific card. So, one of in the ride deck, because there's nothing it can do in the main deck, so that's where we're at with it. On to grade 2s. First off, we start with the orders. Ghost Bilk. Grade 2 normal order. Choose up to 2 grade 2 or greater normal units from your drop, put them into the top of deck, and then put this to soul. Now, a lot of you are going to call me crazy for this. Why do I run this when there's no way to draw in this deck? Here's why. There are very limited ways to get Radylina, who is very important in this build of the deck, back onto the board. There are 2 ways that from the top of my mind, okay, there's a couple of ways, but there are 2 logical ways to get it back on the board. One is this, and the other one is Spiritual Body Condensation, which is Soul Blast 1 and just fetch the Radylina from drop. Here's the thing though. The Spiritual Body Condensation costs a Soul Blast to use. Radylina costs a Soul Blast to use. The grade 2 that I also have in this deck, Rorowa costs a Soul Blast to use. So, you have 3 different cards that would cost Soul Blast. And like I said, some games I hit Soul Blast problems, some games I don't. But if I were to tip that balance, you can see where I'm going with this here. Ghost Bilk, on the other hand, yes, while you're effectively losing out on your drive check, you are getting a soul. And I want to let this be clear. There have been a lot of games where I've used this, and a lot of people say, oh, well, if you're losing your drive check, you're losing the game. No, it's not. It's definitely not, because remember the game I said I anime top decked off of? Guess what? If I didn't use this, I would have actually lost. You want to know how? Because I was able to fetch 1 card in hand from my drop zone, that little 5k shield right there, to defend myself with. And the reasoning why I'm saying this is because the next card in my deck was a grade 3 and another grade 3, which means I would have been 5k short of surviving. In other words, if I didn't run Ghost Bilk, I would have lost. Also, I wouldn't have had soul for my massive comeback next turn, minus the Persona Ride, so yeah, 2 Ghost Bilk. It does its job. If you want to switch it out for a Spiritual Body Condensation, go ahead, but I prefer the shoving of order to soul. Then we have 2 Ghost Chase. Grade 2 Blitz Order. Choose one of your units, it gets +5 for the battle, and then choose one of your rear guards that's being attacked and return it to hand. Cool! You can prevent Radylina from being murdered by just bouncing it to hand, and that's amazing, and that's what you should always do. Even if they are blatantly swinging into Radylina, just Ghost Chase it. Like, even if Ghost Chase Power Boost will not prevent Radylina from dying, just target Radylina with the skills. Oh, wait, yeah, never mind. Right, that's what I forgot about. You can't target the unit that's being attacked. Okay, so I made a mistake in editing a video earlier. But, yes, Ghost Chase cannot prevent the unit that's being attacked from dying, but, you know, protect Radylina with all costs. Like, if you can do anything to protect her, protect her. If they're not swinging into it immediately, send it back to hand. They will swing into it because Radylina is the most important grade 2 in this version of the deck. So 2 of Ghost Chase. It's a nice card. It's definitely one of my least favorite cards, but it's still a good card, so 2 of. Then we have 3 of Blooming Petal Caryophyllus. Grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 9k base. Auto when it's placed on rear guard. If you have no soul charge 2. I have a problem with this one. I run her in the case where I run out of soul, which happens, like I said, a decent amount. But here's the thing. Every game I don't run out of soul, all 3 copies of her show up in my hand. Except the games that I do run out of soul, all 3 copies of her end up in damage. I don't know why. I don't know why this deck does it to me. I put her in here for one specific reason, and the game refuses to let me use her for that reason. But when the day comes where she finally can be useful, then I will be able to make plays, because she's supposed to get you soul back when you inevitably run out of soul. But because I'm not allowed to be happy, we'll see how far I get with that. So Caryophyllus is a nice card. I wish I could use her more, but she is what she is. 3 of, because in the situation where I will get to you, so she can make me a board just by soul charging too. Like, I'm not even kidding you if I timed it right. So 3 of. Then we have 4 of Petal Caryophyllus, grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 9k base, island placed on rear guard circle, counterblast 1, call up to 2 plant tokens to rear. Okay, very simple. It's only an on-plays. But remember, there are only 2 cards in this deck that counterblast, and this is one of them. So being able to just counterblast 1 and get 2 plant tokens, regardless of what grade you or your opponent's Vanguard at, is really good. Because you can just place this on rear, on your grade 2 turn, counterblast 2, get 2 plant tokens, and if you use the grade 2 Rorowa skill, you killed your plant token from earlier, and you got 2 more, you literally have a full board. I know this is capable of happening because I literally did it in my game against the Dragonic Overlord on the channel, which ended poorly, but still, like, Raphelios is amazing. She's a good card, only 1 counterblast, and there's only 2 cards in the deck with counterblast. You'd be crazy not to run her, 4 of. And then we have 4 of our last grade 2 that doesn't go in the ride deck. Dragritter, Girl of Flame Blossoms Radylina, or Radylina. Grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 10k base, dual nation of Dragon Empire and Stoicheia. Active rear guard if you do not have a Momokke Token on rear, counterblast 1, and call up to 1 Momokke Token to your rear guard circle. Really nice. It's only a single counterblast. It's the only other skill in this deck that counterblast outside of this one, which means you just get a call of a Momokke Token. Then you can do whatever you want with for the rest of your counterblast. As long as you just keep her alive, then you can just keep calling back her Momokke Token, even if it just dies. And then Glitter Rorowa, if active if your Vanguard is a Glitter with Rorowa in its card name. Same as Momokke Token, the Vanguard does not have to be in Glitter. You just have to have a Vanguard with the Glitter skill that is also Rorowa. Auto rear, when it attacks, soul blast 1, choose one of your token units in the same column as the unit, and this unit gets the power of that unit until the end of that battle. Includes increased values. The reason why it says this is because while it can pick a plant token, it could also just pick the Momokke Token, who can attack from back row if you have a Rorowa Vanguard and Radylina's in the same column. So what, if you sack 3 rear guards, this boy's a 20? You remember that combo I said earlier? So he's a 20, so he swings that Van. Let's say you Persona Ride this turn, so this is a 20. Then you just swing Soul Blast 1. Cool, add that 20 onto this 20. It's a 40. Shove 1 trigger on it, it's a 50. Yeah, Radylina. Very dangerous, very strong, very good. Run out of 4 of. And then we have the world 3,000 years later, Rorowa, grade 2 intercept 5k shield, 10k base, auto placed on Vanguard circle, retire one of your rear guards. It doesn't have to be a plant token, but most likely you're just going to have the plant token behind Van that you called from this grade 1, and call up to 2 plant tokens to rear. So you don't have to call 2, you can call 1, but you most likely would just call 2 just to the same column that is different than this one, and then just swing with them for rushing capabilities. You get 2 attacks, and then Glitter, this card is in Glitter, which seeks the Fire Regalias. So once more, we don't know what that is. I can presume what I think it is, but I'm not exactly sure. Either way, Rorowa is really nice. I don't like its art because it just looks like a manga card to me, but it's still good, so I give it 1 of in the ride deck and none in the main deck because you cannot use it in the main deck. And then our last card in the deck entirely, and our last normal unit in our main grade 3 is 3 copies in the main deck, 1 copy in the ride deck of For One's Precious Thing Rorowa. Here's my thing. When I originally saw this guy, with the way he's gripping this right here, I thought he had an arrow. And I thought this was a bow and I thought this was an arrow. Then I looked at it more and it was a sword and just leaves. but in my mind, he still has an arrow. But I do love his sword, though. He's amazing. I wish he had an arrow. From my mind, he's going to have an arrow. Anyways, grade 3 turns, Persona Red, 13k base. Auto Van once per turn. Soul Blast 1, call up to 3 plant tokens to rear. That is literally the cheapest and best skill I have ever seen. Soul Blast only one whenever... Sorry, act. So Soul Blast only one during your main phase. Granted, it's only once per turn, but you get half your board of plant tokens. Orphist is Counterblast 2 to do the same thing. And granted, he's not once per turn, but Counterblast 4 to get 5, sometimes I can see and sometimes I can't. So, you know, Rorowa I think is honestly better even if his tokens are weaker. And then Auto Van, when it is attacked, retire one or more of your token units, and this unit gets plus 5 count on the battle for each unit retired for this cost. Here's the funny thing. 2 parts about that. 1, it's not once per turn, and 2, when attacked by anything. So as long as you have tokens, you can just keep doing. Like, for example, normally when I do it, I do like, because I normally field is 1 Radylina, 1 Momokke, and 3 plant tokens. I like to sack 2 plant tokens for the first one, then I like to sack the Momokke token and the plant token for the next one, and then typically I would take the last one, or I would just PG the last one, or, you know, massive guard the last one. So all around, that's what I like to do, or at least when I'm guarding rear guard, you know, the PG would normally go to the Vanguard. So Rorowa is honestly amazing. He can get you that 5k anywhere, and then you can immediately repopulate your board to use it again next turn. He's amazing. He's a nice card. I love him. He's very simple and is glittered with the fire regales, which doesn't matter here. He's just an amazing grade 3. Like, he's so simplistic, but he's actually really good. So 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the right deck. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Honestly, I don't know about like Rorowa because I think a lot of people. I haven't heard much people's opinion about Rorowa. Like, in my opinion, he's definitely the most like underwhelming in terms of on their own, because Chaos can be very dangerous if you use him right. Same with Tigreya, same with like Eva, yeah, same with MLB, Overlord, PBO, all those guys, and especially Tamiyera. But Rorowa on his own doesn't seem to do that, doesn't look like it does that much, but he's very simplistic. He's got a nice defense to him, and not to mention, Stoicheia is like the one deck that has so many good interchangeable cards from all the different ride lines, to where if you just take them all in, like Spiritual Body Condensation, you could run that. I just don't like to, because you know the 50-50 chance of Soul Blasting out, but you could just take that, shove it in, and then you get more consistency with your rear guards and Radylina. Like, quite literally, Rorowa, while on his own, he may look like the least dangerous. Straight up, he probably is the most dangerous, or at least like second most dangerous, because of the amount of interchangeable cards in Stoicheia. So that's it for Rorowa. I hope you guys enjoyed. He's definitely my favorite ride line. And about that Greedon story, my friend was trying to do double Greedon restand. He failed because he misread a card, but whew, I tell you, I survived because he didn't pull a trigger, which was really good for me. And then but I had to lose my entire hand. I drew, well, minus my Persona Ride, I drew into a Radylina because I lost my entire board too. Persona Road, draw into this thing, call Radylina, call this thing, use its skill, make a board, use Radylina, call a token, skill of token, sack the 2 plants. Actually, no, sack the 2 plants and the girl, gets plus 15, use Vanguard skill, get 3 plant tokens. It was beautiful, it was amazing, and that was an amazing game, and I love it, and that's one of the many reasons why I like Rorowa. So if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, donate to the Patreon, join Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up, your Vanguards.